السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن والاه. Inshallah, dear brothers and sisters, continuing our series called 30 Books in 30 Days. The book that I would like to speak to you about today is once again a book that I think all young people will be very excited about. And this book is called Before You Tie the Knot. Before You Tie the Knot. A guide, it's called Before You Tie the Knot, a guide for couples. It's written by two people, Salma Abu Guderi and Muhammad Haque Majid, also known as Imam Majid, Muhammad Haque Majid, Imam Majid. This book is exactly what the title suggests. It is a book that is written for young people who are getting ready to think about marriage or are already planning to get married. Unfortunately, there have been many cases in the United States of young people getting married and getting divorced very soon after that. And so, many people have felt the need to prepare young people who are thinking about getting married to make sure that they know what they're getting into, what the proper expectations should be, what they should be expecting, how they should prepare themselves, what really to look for, and so on and so forth. So this book does that job. A lot of the imams now are requiring people who come to them to get married, they are requiring that they do premarital counseling. I think our own Imam Azhar also provides premarital counseling, although he does not require it, but he highly encourages it. So a lot of the imams are requiring that they will not do the nikah unless and until the young couple is willing to sit down and have sessions in premarital counseling with the imam. And the reason why they are requiring that is because of this epidemic of young people getting married and then very soon getting divorced. So now the thing is that a lot of people are looking for premarital counseling also. A lot of families, a lot of young people are looking for premarital counseling, but they don't always have access to somebody who can do a good job in premarital counseling. Imam Majid is somebody who has built a reputation for not just premarital counseling but also marital counseling for years. I remember when, in 2004 is when I got married. So in the late 90s and the early 2000s, he was already very famous in the country for his workshops that he used to do for married couples as well as people who were thinking about getting married. And he's the one who has written this book together with Salma Abu Guderi. So it is a book that, especially is helpful for those who don't have access to live sessions in premarital counseling, that this fills that void. So unlike the book that I talked about yesterday, which was more of a comprehensive manual on marriage in Islam, that was both for people who are looking to get married and people who are already married, that was a more comprehensive book. This is more targeted towards people who are about to get married. So it is a very, very useful book. It was published in 2000 and when was it? 2000 and early 2000s, I think, 2011, 2013. As I said, Imam Majid, he is very well known in the country. He used to be the president of ISNA. He served as the president of the Islamic Society of North America for a few years, and he has been and continues to be the imam of one of the largest Islamic centers in America, called the Adams Center. The Adams Center, which is in Sterling, Virginia. And that is one of the, as I said, one of the largest Muslim community organizations in the country. So he is one of the authors. The other author is Salma Abu Gdairi. She is a licensed professional counselor in private practice in Northern Virginia. And she specializes in marriage counseling and trauma treatment. So at the beginning of the book, there is a quote that I wanted to share with you. This is a quote from somebody who has not only read this book, but they have also participated in workshops that are conducted by the two of them, Salma Abu Gdairi and Imam Majid. So Salma Abu Gdairi, even though she's a counselor, she's also a student of Imam Majid. And she talks about that in the introduction of the book. And they both live in the same area. So, they have worked together for many years. And so this is a person who has attended their workshops and read their book. And this is what he had to say. He says, "This book is a great read. I couldn't put it down. With marriage being the only family relationship we get to choose in this life, unlike our parents, our siblings, our children, it is imperative we make a well-researched and careful decision in choosing our life partner. This book provides critical guidance and advice on how to do that with a refreshing, open, and straightforward perspective suitable for those of us living in or raised in the West. This book is a must-read. The bonus is that it reads well, hooks you with its honesty in dealing with difficult topics, and is hard to put down." So some praiseworthy words there by one of the attendees of their focus groups or their workshops. And then Imam Majid, he writes at the beginning of this book, he writes why he wrote this book and how he wrote this book. So I'm not going to read the whole thing, but just a passage from what he wrote. So he says that after reading many books about marriage written by Muslims and people of other faiths, giving many lectures around this subject, and many counseling sessions for married people or premarital counseling, I thought we should write a book about our experiences for young couples to read. We meaning him and Salma. So I thought we should write a book about our experiences for young couples to read. In it, we would address the needs of many people who want to know more about marriage and premarital counseling issues. And since my analysis would not be complete unless supplemented with the experience of someone versed in the professional aspect of this subject as well as the first-hand experience of growing up in American culture. So Imam Majid didn't grow up in America, but Salma Abu Gdairi did. So he's an immigrant, she's somebody who grew up here. So he's saying that, a first-hand experience of growing up in American culture, the idea for me and Salma to write this book came to be realized. It is intentional that we write this together, not only because we work together, but because we bring the combined perspectives of male and female, as well as imam and professional. In addition, we bring combined cultural perspectives, with one of us being raised overseas and one of us being raised in the United States. And then let me just read to you one more passage from here that also is from the introduction of the book. So they both are writing here. So they say, "By sharing our experiences through this manual, we hope to benefit individuals seeking to marry. People who are already married may also benefit from this book. However, the primary objective is to provide guidance for those who are seeking marriage, as well as for those parents who are involved in the process with their adult children. Our focus is preventative, and we hope to see a reduction in the number of couples that are in crisis or on the verge of divorce. We aim to provide couples with tools and a roadmap to help them navigate and manage problems before they become too difficult to resolve. Just as people spend years preparing for their careers or weeks preparing for a job interview, they should set aside the time and energy to prepare for what they hope will be a lifetime relationship. Many books have been written on marriage in Islam, but most have been written from a philosophical or a legal or theoretical perspective. Our goal is to provide a book that is practical, and that includes real scenarios from our experiences in counseling. This book is not intended to be a book of fiqh or legal rulings. However, what is in this book is grounded in the teachings of the Quran and the Sunnah, and it also incorporates what is currently known about psychology and relationships. This book is particularly meant to address issues concerning Muslim marriages in the US, in the light of Islamic teachings. Much of what we share may also be useful to Muslims living in other non-Muslim countries, and so on and so forth. Table of contents of this book, just to give you an idea of what kind of topics it covers. There's 10 chapters in this book. The first one is called the Quranic Model. Second one is called Are You Getting Married for the Right Reason? Chapter 3 is Factors to Consider When Choosing a Spouse. Number 4, How do you find a potential spouse? Number 5, The Role of the Family. Number 6, The Wedding. Number 7, Elements of a Successful Marriage. Number 8, Essential Skills for a Successful Marriage. Number 9, Finances. Number 10, Special Issues. And then there are 2 appendices in the book that are very important. Appendix 1 is the premarital questionnaire. So this premarital questionnaire is really something. This is a list of 100 questions that Imam Majid put together many, many years ago, and he has been editing it since then. I mean, like I said, even when I was getting married, this list was very popular, right? So my wife printed it out, and she drilled me with these questions over a period of time. And they're very useful because, a lot of young people, they talk to their potential spouse. They talk a lot with each other, but they don't necessarily know what they should be talking about. So he gives a lot of very useful questions here that they can use to have meaningful discussions to really figure out whether they are compatible with one another or not. And a lot of these questions, these couples have never even thought about before. So this is a very, very useful set of questions that Imam Majid has put together. I won't take your time to read through them, but you can look at it by yourself. And then the last appendix is, of course, on the extremely important prayer, which is the istikhara prayer, right? The istikhara prayer, which is so important when making decisions such as getting married or finding or accepting a job offer and so on. So there's a lot of testimonials in the back here. There's one by Imam Sahib Webb, one by Sheikh Umar Sulaiman, and a few others that have spoken highly of this book. And I think it's a good complement or supplement to the book that I spoke about yesterday, especially for young people. So I think the book that I talked about yesterday is a more comprehensive approach to marriage, and it also is written by a mufti, so a scholar. And so there are a few issues in this book, I'll be honest. There are a few issues in this book because it's not as scholarly as the other one. But I think when taken together, the 2 books are really, really good and useful for anybody who is thinking about getting married. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help all of our young people find righteous spouses. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help all of us who are already married. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us find bliss in our marriages. Ameen. Wa sallallahu wa sallim wa barik ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. You're welcome to take a look at this book and take a picture of it if you want. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.